Hello, my name is Carrie. Welcome to my tiny little kitchen. I have been cooking since I was... Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade taco seasoning. You can purchase taco seasoning at most stores in a little pouch or envelope, but the pre-packaged taco seasoning mixes usually have unnecessary ingredients or chemicals in them, and I would like to show you how to make the seasoning at home. It's very economical and very easy, and then you can have it on hand whenever you would like to make seasoned meat with a Mexican flavor. So the first thing that we need is a container to put our seasoning into. I save these containers when I buy different things at the store or at a restaurant, wash them and reuse them. If you don't have any little jars or containers to use, you can also use a tightly folded piece of aluminum foil for your seasoning. So the first thing that we need, the first ingredient in taco seasoning, is dried minced onion. And we will need 2 teaspoons of minced onion into each container. Next, we'll need 1 teaspoon of salt. I like sea salt, so that's the type of salt that I'm using, but you can use regular table salt if you want. So there's 1 teaspoon of salt in each container. Next, we'll need 1 teaspoon of chili powder. This is dried, crushed chili powder. And we'll use 1 teaspoon in each container. Next, we're going to use crushed dried red chilies. So this isn't a powder, this is dried chilies. We need half a teaspoon of those. That adds a little bit more spice to our seasoning mix. We also need half a teaspoon of dried cumin. This is ground cumin. And cumin is a very common spice in Mexican food. So we'll do a half a teaspoon of cumin. Cumin's also used in a lot of Indian dishes. I also have garlic powder. You can use garlic powder or minced garlic. I'm going to use a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. We'll need a half a teaspoon of dried oregano leaves You can use ground oregano. If you use ground oregano, only use 1/4 of a teaspoon. But if you're using oregano leaves, go ahead and use 1/2 teaspoon. The last ingredient that goes into our spice mixture is cornstarch. And you'll need 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch into each container. Now you can either stir or shake these to mix them up. I'm going to place the lid on and just give these a good shake to mix. And now I have 3 containers of spice mix for making taco meat. To make seasoned chicken or beef, you can use ground meat that is cooked, or chopped or shredded meat. Put your 1 pound of meat, which is about 450 grams, into a skillet. Add your container of taco seasoning and 1/2 cup of water. Cook over a medium-low heat and simmer for about 10 minutes to blend the spices into the meat and to let the mixture thicken up a bit. So there we go. Here are 3 containers of taco seasoning. I use this taco seasoning when I make Grandma Kathy's Mexican pie, which is a crustless quiche. And I will mix this spice into beans if I'm cooking beans, or if I want to make meat for tacos or tostadas or nachos. This is the spice mixture. The burner on to a medium-high heat. I'm going to lightly grease my frying pan with canola oil cooking spray. And I'm going to add 1 pound of ground turkey. You can use ground beef, ground turkey, or ground chicken. Today I'm using ground turkey. And the meat needs to cook until it's completely cooked through and browned. One pound of ground meat is approximately 450 grams of meat. Turkey and chicken are leaner than beef. If you're using ground beef, you can use lean ground beef or ground chuck. It will have less fat in it. So I'm just using my cooking spoon to spread the meat out in the pan. It's starting to sizzle and cook. And I'll just stir it during the cooking process. You can see where it's starting to cook with this meat here. I'll just stir it until all of the meat is cooked. And then to make sure that we get all of the fat out, I'll put the meat into a colander to drain the extra fat. You can use a colander or a sieve. When there's no longer any pink left on the meat, then I will know that it's finished cooking. I can still see some small areas of pink. So all of the pink is gone. The meat is thoroughly cooked, so I'm going to turn off the heat. And then I'm going to put the meat into our colander. And you can see how much liquid comes out. So the first step is finished. Our meat is cooked. Today I am making homemade taco meat. I'm using the homemade taco meat seasoning that I made from spices in my cabinet. I like to use this instead of the packaged mixes from the store because they have chemicals in them that are not healthy, and also MSG, and you shouldn't eat MSG because while it might make food taste good, it does cause cancer. So I like to make my own seasoning. The first thing that we need to do is spray the pan lightly with cooking oil, and the next thing that we need is our homemade taco seasoning. I made this with spices from my cabinet so that it wouldn't have any harmful chemicals in it like some of the packages that you buy from the store. So we have our sprayed pan. I'm going to turn this on to a medium heat. We have 1 pound of cooked ground turkey. I'm going to place that into the skillet. So the first step is to cook the meat. Next, I'm going to sprinkle our seasonings onto the meat and then add a half of a cup of water. Mix all of that together so that the meat gets coated with the spices. And then that little bit of water will start to boil. Once it starts to boil, turn the heat down to low and let the meat and the spices simmer for about 10 minutes or until the water is thickened and absorbed. So I'm just getting this really well stirred in. And getting the meat broken into smaller chunks. I'm still waiting for the water in the skillet to begin bubbling. It's not yet, but as soon as it does, then we'll turn it down. This homemade taco meat will be very good on nachos. It will be good with rice and beans. It will be good inside of tacos, inside of quesadillas, and also on top of salad. So there's a lot of uses for this taco meat. And if you use ground turkey instead of ground beef, it has a lower fat content. Well, now the liquid has started to bubble a little bit, so I'm going to turn this down to low and then set our timer for about 10 minutes. The aroma from the spices is making our meat smell very good. You can see that the liquid is almost all absorbed into the meat. Again, it's very important before you begin to cook to wash your hands and under your fingernails very thoroughly, and to clean and disinfect your countertops, all of your cooking surfaces, and to have clean utensils and dishes. That's almost done. The timer has just gone off and our meat has finished cooking, so I'm going to turn off the heat. And now we have 1 pound of cooked, nicely seasoned taco meat that we could use inside of tacos, omelets, quesadillas, with rice and or with beans, and also on top of nachos and taco salad. Thank you very much for watching my channel. Please remember to always season everything that you do with love.